phone? Yeah.
That'll work, right? She'll just audio from her phone.
Okay, we're live, guys. Okay. 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 Now your other device is on mute. Now unmute the other one. Look.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I'm gonna put your other one on mute. I'm gonna put your other one on mute. Okay. There we go.
Both are on mute now.
Yeah, I think she put it on mute. Okay,
I'm turning this off.
she's turning one off. Okay, good.
Okay,
Y'all ready?
yes.
All righty, let's go. We're live.
I think so, yeah. I got it. Hold it, nurse.
Dawn, it's all you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Hebert, and I'm chairman of Voters East of the Industrial Canal. I want to welcome everyone to Voters East of the Industrial Canal Public Candidates Forum for Division 2, New Orleans Council at Large. A group of concerned voters believe that their voices were not heard. They also believe that their issues, concerns, and questions were not being addressed within the many packed hosted forums and debates. As a result, Voters East of the Industrial Canal was established in 2011. VOTEC is an organization by voters and for voters that provides for an open forum where candidates can holistically engage voters, our citizens who are the true decision makers on election day. All candidates seeking office were invited to tonight's forum. Tonight's questions were solicited and submitted from voters who reside east of the Industrial Canal. The rules of tonight's forum were previously submitted to each candidate and applied throughout the evening. I want to introduce Brandon Gilmore, which you're going to feel me now. So Brandon, it's in your hands.
Thank you, Ms. Dawn. Would like to welcome you all to the third of the 4 evenings of our 2021 series of Voters East of the Industrial Canal Municipal Candidates Forum, which is being brought to you by the Box Studios located in New Orleans East. At this time, I would like to introduce my co-host for this evening's Council at Large Division 1 Forum, Ms. Kimberly Burbank. Okay, we're about to get started. We're going to begin this evening's introductions with the incumbent New Orleans Councilwoman Helena Moreno, followed by the introduction of the other Division 1 Council at Large candidates in alphabetical order. So we will start with Ms. Moreno, then Mr. Kenneth Cutno, and Mr. David Nowak. Please, the first set of questions are 1 minute. Please adhere to that. So please provide, Ms. Moreno, please provide us with your full name, your profession, the number of years in your profession, in a position you are seeking. Then give us your strengths, weaknesses, and skill sets and how you believe they qualify you to effectively serve as a representative for District 1 Council at Large seat.
Okay, well, thank you, Brandon, and nice to see all of you, Dawn and Corinne and Kimberly. Nice to see you as well. Helena Moreno, I'm running for a re-election for City Council at Large, Division 1. I believe that some of my greatest strengths is that I come up with big plans and big ideas, and I actually get them done. So often I've told no during my time in the legislature about things that couldn't be accomplished, and I'm on the city council that some things couldn't be accomplished, and I've gotten them done. One of the big things recently actually happened. I was told that we couldn't move towards full decriminalization of simple possession of marijuana in the city of New Orleans. And I said, yes, we can. And the city council also has pardon powers. So I was able to pardon thousands of people who had this particular type of on their record, and also move forward with making sure that NOPD officers don't wait on someone that just is in possession of a little cannabis. So those are some of the big things that I've moved forward and plan to continue moving forward should I be reelected to a second term. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moreno. Mr. Kenneth Cutno.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Cutno. I was born and raised in New Orleans. It's time to put progress over politician, crime, sewage and water board, high utilities, high rent, flooding, fix our streets. These was the issues 4 years ago, and these are still the same issues we are facing today. And we need someone with the experience and qualification to address those issues. A little bit more about my opportunity in life is I worked in the governor's office at the age 27 under the former governor, Edwin Edwards, an intergovernment relation. I have been a chief probation officer for the Ascension Parish Juvenile Court. I also put together the first affordable housing program in the state of Louisiana, where is the first tax incentive program, tax credit program in the state of Louisiana. My biggest project is the redevelopment of the St. Thomas housing development, a $360 million development. We bought the Walmart in. Walmart is the first major Walmart in a metropolitan area. We took the sales taxes from Walmart to pay for the $360 million housing development. My second major project was early child care. We put together, along with the late Phyllis Landry, the first multi-purpose center school, which is the Mahalia Jackson School, for early child care. We had a library, we had computer labs, we had a healthcare department, and the purpose of the healthcare department is so when the kids get sick, the mom could drop the kids off at the school and still go to work, and the kids could get healthcare at the same time, the education requirement, and at the same time, it took the pressure off.
No, I have to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay. And Mr. David Nowak. Am I saying it correctly?
No, he's not running. He's disqualified.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you both for answering those questions. And at this time, we're going to present something on the screen. Please let us know when you see it. And we would like you to answer that question when it comes up. You can't see it yet?
No, I can't. Not yet, Brandon.
What about now?
I see it. Thank you. Oh, VOTEC trivia. Okay.
Mr. Cutno, you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have like a bell?
No, we about to take it. You can take it down. And we can start with you, Councilwoman. You can answer.
It's the state.
Mr. Cutno, your answer?
It's the state.
Thank you both. And that is correct. While the state of Louisiana has responsibility for the management of design and construction of new Interstate 10 I-10 lighting projects within the city of New Orleans, obligation for the Operation and maintenance of new lights and all existing lights remain with the city. Thank you. Thank you both. And one more thing, we're going to present a video. Please let me know when you see it. This is what New Orleans East used to look like.
Before Katrina?
And now.
And now.
Yeah, that's a new lakefront.
We're trying to get back to that. We need both of you help. Whoever is elected, we definitely need your help.
Lincoln Beach.
Lakefront Airport. Morrison Road. The Blight. The apartments that's been up since Katrina. 16 years. And this is what we're dealing with now with road construction. They come out, we don't see them for 5 months, and we're stuck with this. He's been talking and talking, illegal dumping, the blight. This is what New Orleans East is not supposed to look like this. This is,
Diamond Road.
and this video was taken recently. This is just a snippet of the problems and the things we deal with in New Orleans East. And we feel like no one in City Hall hears us. And honestly, we feel like no one in City Hall cares. But I just want to thank both of you for answering that first question. I now will turn it over to Ms. Kimberly Burbank. And she will ask remaining questions. Thank you both.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you all?
Good.
Good. Wonderful. So for the first question, you each have 1 minute to respond. I will begin with Mr. Cudno. The question is, many people do not actually understand the role and the function of the city council. And most importantly, is city councilman at large. Can you explain and distinguish the role between a district council member and a at-large council person? Mr. Cutner.
Yes,
1 minute.
The council at large represent the entire city. The district represent a certain portion of the city. So the council at large has a larger responsibility to every district within the city of New Orleans. And the council at large must take upon the responsibility of addressing all the issues in every part of the city, and not just in the one little district or one location. Like a district council person, his main concern is just that little district he represents. But the council at large represents the whole city. So that council person must be concerned about everybody, every house, every yard, every background, every culture, every tradition in the city of New Orleans.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Helena Moreno.
Yes, so sure. So the at-large members really focus on citywide issues. The district council members focus, directly on, specific district matters. But I'll say this, that the at-large members are also a little bit of the catch-all for when district members aren't being, for lack of a better term, as responsive as some of their constituents may want to be. So that's really, another role that my office has certainly served for, whether it's a situation of road work or whether it's a situation of potholes. We're handling that as much as we're also handling citywide policy. I think your question was also about, what is really the role of the council? The role of the council is the legislative body. Like at the end of the day, the executive has, which is the mayor, has a lot of power, but we have legislative power along with budgetary authority. And therefore we can use those powers very distinctly to get things done or to block things from happening if we're not necessarily in line with the direction in which the executive is going in. I'll say that one of the big examples of that was what happened with Municipal Auditorium and okay, thanks, Corinne.
Thank you. In the previous video, there were several homes shown, mixed use developments, I would say, with some retail on the first floor and really vacancy above, many apartment complexes, and we saw many thoroughfares. So this next question deals with capital improvement projects. Can you explain capital improvement projects and the budgetary process for them? Can we start with Councilmember Moreno?
So we have, two tranches of money. One is for general operations of the city, and the other deals capital budget. Last year, our capital budget was, roughly $500 million as to how we spend that particular money. So that money goes really into infrastructure projects. So that's how that particular budget works. But if we're talking about overall investment in corridors, New Orleans certainly has the corridors in which investment should go into, but that has a conversation about how we prioritize economic development in the city. We're still too into just this one trick pony tourism. And that's why so much of the investments, whether they're private or they're public, go into the core parts of the town. That needs to change. That's what I've been focusing on, because when that changes, that's when New Orleans East wins.
Thank you. Mr. Cutno?
Well, when we talk about the budget, the general budget, the capital budget, the funds are not coming to the New Orleans East community. It's the council's responsibility to allocate the budget according to projects, according to the needs of the community, the needs of the neighborhood, and the needs of the people. And the council is not doing that. Ms. Moreno sits on the Community Development Committee, with all the money is coming through her committee, and not one dime is coming to New Orleans East. And it's a shame, because New Orleans East is the gold mine of New Orleans, and we should make an investment, because you guys pay more taxes than anybody else in the city, well, besides Lakeview. But y'all land population is bigger. Y'all have more space in New Orleans East, and the money is not coming to the community. The capital budget money, the general budget money, even the community development block grant funds is not coming to New Orleans East. For some reason, they refuse to make that investment, and the council member is not taking care of the people in that district. And the council member is in charge of all the money on the community development committee. And so that district is being neglected by the council member. And it's not right for the council member to overlook the major part of a Black population in this city. Now, they're sending money to Lakeview, they're sending money to Central City, but they're not sending money to New Orleans East. And that's the question we need to ask the council member. Why the funds are not coming to New Orleans East? Why the community development block grant funds is not coming to New Orleans East? Why there's no community development activity taking place in New Orleans East? And if you sit on the committee, why you're not directing programs and funds and activities toward New Orleans East? And you're supposed to represent us too. This is what we call taxation without representation.
Time.
Thank you both. Along the same line of thought. So if New Orleans East is uniquely oriented along various modes of transportation routes, defining it as a regional location, what legislation will you propose as an economic driver for the New Orleans East area that will have a positive fiduciary impact on the city of New Orleans and the region? Can we begin with Mr. Kenneth Cutno?
There are two. And 4 years ago, I presented the same proposal with the Jazz Land development. Now we are talking about supporting Bayou Phoenix. Bayou Phoenix, it would be the economical engine that New Orleans East would need. The second component of your question would come with the tourists. We had over $10 billion spent from the tourists that visit New Orleans. With a development like Bayou Phoenix in the New Orleans East area, you would be able to attract more tourists with family members, because the families come to New Orleans and the kids only have Bourbon Street, where families would love to take them to a water park. We would love to take them to an amusement park. And the Bayou Phoenix project would be the #1 engine for New Orleans East. Not only would it be an engine, you could create a New Orleans East development district and collect $1 from every vendor, from every person that purchased a ticket to go to Bayou Phoenix, just like the downtown development district is doing with the tourists. The convention center is doing with the tourists. They're collecting $1 from them, and y'all could take that same dollar, put it in New Orleans East, and create your own New Orleans East development district, and hire your own police officer, have your own street cleaners, and have your own and do your own redevelopment, because you will have enough income coming to that area to make an investment that is needed for New Orleans East. I still have more time?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Helena Moreno?
Yes, so I think the question was about legislation, not about how to spend money that, we may not have, but about legislation. So, there are corridors that have already been.
We have a $3 billion budget.
And actually, we do not.
Excuse me, can we start the time over? She was interrupted. We are not allowed to go back and forward or interrupt or debate one another.
Yeah, I'm
Please,
sorry.
let's respect the rules of the forum. Miss Marcia, can you reset the time, please?
Yes, resetting.
Thank you. So there are several corridors within New Orleans East that have been identified in the past that could be viable for particular legislation and investment to create incentive zones. And what's interesting is that the reason why I found this out is because I was moving forward with a piece of legislation to identify these zones with the New Orleans East, only to find out that that had already been done by the previous administration, and nothing had been done by either that mayor or even now the current administration. So because I'd seen no improvement, I said, I'm going to go ahead and do it on my own as a council member and have the council move forward with this. So now that we know that there are these specific spots identified, it's time to move forward with legislation, whether it's, whether it's Main Street incentives, whether it's ED. I'll say that there are already EDD that are in parts of our city that happen to be dormant and not being utilized. And so it's time to revamp those as well. But I'll say this, I mean, one of the challenges that we do have in New Orleans East in particular, and even as you look at some areas that border between District D and District E, if you take a look at Downman Street, from the airport all the way to the interstate, that's a 2-mile stretch. So there's potential opportunity there, once again, as we diversify, to bring in tech industry with this major infrastructure bill coming through Congress, to bring in tech industry there, to bring in new industry to Downman Street, to create partnerships with the airport with the right incentive programs. There's a lot of opportunity, but it's really about pushing it forward and making that commitment to diversify our economy, because if we do, I'll say it again, New Orleans East will benefit.
Thank you. Next question will allow for 1 minute. Ms. Helena Moreno. Many major cities are turning to special taxes as a way to eradicate blighted properties in their jurisdictions? Will you entertain legislation that will levy a special tax on abandoned blighted property? Yes or no, and why?
Yes, whatever we can do to work toward eradicating blighted property in our city, I think is beneficial. But can I also say that another important piece to this is taking care of city-owned properties, which they themselves are blighted or in complete disrepair. That we have actually happens to be directly across from Lincoln Beach. Across from Lincoln Beach, there are acres of land directly across from Lincoln Beach. So when we redevelop Lincoln Beach, those acres of land are prime for development. I think this is an opportunity to team up with UNO and hopefully SUNO as well. I mean, this is just an idea to create another technology park, just like UNO has, which they just recently rebranded as the Beach. Well, this could actually be the Beach Part 2. This could be a huge thing right on Hain Boulevard, right across from what will be, the new development of Lincoln Beach. But it's city-owned blighted property. That too must also be rectified.
Mr. Kenneth Cudno,
It's amazing how
would you
we
like me to
give
repeat
lip
the question?
service. No, I haven't. It's amazing how we give lip service right before election to talk about the things that we should do, the things we need to look at. When we had 3 years, 4 years to do all these things, now we want to talk about it, give out more lip service. Politicians love to make us feel good. Let's take the blighted property. Let's put the money into the community. Let's make first-time homeowners, entrepreneurs, tax credit for business development. I told you, I put together a housing tax credit on Chapatulu with the Walmart. We took $25 million from HUD. And that's over $1 billion economic development over there. We could do the same thing, you all see, with the tax credits, enterprise zones, community development fund. Right now, the city is looking at $388 million. Our council people is not talking about the $388 million that President Biden just allocated to it with the American Rescue Plan. We could take that money and put it in New Orleans East for the blighted of these things. We're tired y'all making decisions.
Time.
So along that, we've now talked about taxes. We've talked about opportunity with underdeveloped property, as well as underdeveloped vacant land. So the question now is, do you have a vision and plan for New Orleans East? If so, please share your vision. Would like to start with Ms. Helena Moreno.
So my vision for New Orleans East is to become a more connected New Orleans East, connected with the city of New Orleans, because there is this kind of disconnection, and the sentiment is there with the people living in the very, very forgotten. So this connectivity piece, which has transportation and other issues as well, but on the connectivity piece, once again, I get back to the investment in the East, and that comes with diversification. But another issue that we know that that's difficult to deal with in New Orleans East is the fact that there's so much. So that causes specific issues with emergency response. So what I'd also like is to work with the mayor's office on reallocating public safety resources in New Orleans East, so we can boost that. I have some great ideas when it comes to recruitment of an OPD officer, because as you all know, officers are leaving.
Hello, is everybody froze?
So as we all know, NOPD are not where they need to be. The NOPD isn't. And so, because of that, we need to think outside the box when it comes to recruitment. And what I mean by that is, what can we offer aside from a little increase in pay? What about specific housing options. What can we offer as far as rental assistance or, closing fees, moving and relocation? Those could be the extra piece there that brings in officers to New Orleans and increases the number of police officers that we have in our city. So those are just some of the ideas that I have. A more connected, safer, a real thriving New Orleans East. And that's really my vision that I plan to accomplish one day.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth Cudno. Mr.
He's
Cudno?
muted.
Okay. Mr. Kenneth Cudno?
Internet.
Oh,
Pulls up.
He's
Oh,
muted.
yeah, it's frozen. Mr. Kenneth Cudno? No, he's not, it's not muted. It's not, I don't think it's frozen. No, his eyes just moved. Mr. Kenneth Cudno?
Hello,
Okay.
hello. Testing, testing,
Oh, it is. Mhm.
testing.
Kimberly,
1, 2,
he's
3.
back.
He's
He's
back.
back. Yes.
Kimberly,
Mr.
Yes.
Cutno, are you there? Mr. Cutno?
Mr. Cutno, let's go. Can you log off and log back in? Because you're going in and out. Can you log off and log back in? We'll redeem your time when you get back in.
0,
Can you log off?
back.
Okay, I think you're better now. You want to go ahead and try to answer the question?
Mr. Kenneth Cudno, would you like me to repeat the question?
Can't hear you.
You can hear us now?
Can't hear you.
I'm gonna remove him and then he'll just have to come back in, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly, I guess you can go and go to the next question for Councilmember Helena Moreno, and then when he comes back in, we'll ask him, yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Moreno, you mentioned the NOPD. What authority or influences does the city council have over NOPD? And what do you believe should be done to address the epidemic of juvenile crime in the city of New Orleans? Juvenile murder and juvenile robbery as examples.
So, obviously we have budgetary authority over the NOPD. At the same time, when there are issues within the NOPD, we are a body that they come and we are the agency that can bring them forward and have the public address NOPD themselves as well. When it comes to youth violence, and this is incredibly sad, tragic, concerning, we have 14, 15-year-olds who are murder victims much too often, and we have 14 and 15-year-olds who are being accused of murder much too often. So I've been talking with B.A. Williams a lot about this because I think one of the things that is missing is really a very coordinated approach when it comes to helping youth who have initially touched the criminal justice system. What are we doing to ensure that they don't recidivize and that their crimes do escalate? One potential model that I'd like to move forward with is toward restorative justice for those kids who have initially touched the criminal justice system through a restorative justice center, where all services would be under one roof, where the youth, along with his or her family, could receive wraparound, hand-holding type of care to ensure that this child does not recidivize and escalate his or her crimes. I think that is the type of model that we need to build in the city, and one that hopefully would be a model for other cities to follow as well.
Thank you. Along the line of community engagement, we have 1 minute to answer this next question. Can you explain the neighborhood participation process, the NPP, and please give your opinion as to whether the process requires a city council member to host meetings, or if it is the responsibility of the developer and or requester, with an invitation extended to the city council?
So the NPP process is the Neighborhood Participation Program, and it works twofold. One, if the developer is moving forward with a project, they are required to move through NPP, having at least one meeting, I believe. But here's the kicker. When it comes to, if it's a council member that is moving forward with a specific project, if they're putting it through the CPC process, then that NPP can be waived. This is something that I'm moving legislation forward with to correct. That doesn't seem fair to me, that if all of a sudden that a developer can be, close to a particular council member or something. I'm not saying that anything is necessarily wrong now, but there is potential that there could be something not necessarily all on the up and up that happens. And therefore, this developer can slide their project through just by having the council members submit their project and not have to go through neighborhood participation. So I think that that's a real problem. And I can tell that we really brought this issue to light on the municipal auditorium situation. When I created the text amendment requiring public participation for any relocation of City Hall, that's when it definitely made clear that I needed to put in there that even if a council member made the submission to move it forward through CPC, that NPP was absolutely required in that case as well. So I think that that's something that needs to be addressed and corrected, and we've already started working on that, and that legislation should be coming up this fall. So look out.
Thank you. Next question has 2 minute response time. We understand that zoning and land use matters can and have been viewed by some as an obstacle to development. However, the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans East has had and continues to experience numerous challenges with careless, haphazard development. Numerous community organizations were formed and initiatives planned and launched to monitor and refine zoning regulations and design standards. These were developed for the purpose of promoting higher quality developments and limiting incompatible land use mixes. As council member at large, how would you address the concerns of the community and the cohesiveness of the approved zoning and land use plans if it is in conflict with the district council's person?
Well, I've already had to do that a couple of times, and really it's because I've listened to the community. And I've listened to the needs, and I've listened to the expertise of the neighbors, and have gone again, district council members. They tried to move forward with some items that I didn't necessarily think were appropriate. And I will say this, I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to EONAC because they are very well versed on these particular matters. And during my time as a council member, they have made me aware of situations that maybe I didn't need to be voting with a particular council member, and I followed their lead. And so it's about, in my opinion, it's really about listening to the community, listening to neighbors, taking a close look at the rules and why those rules were put in place in the first place. And that's because they were put in place so that we could build better communities and better neighborhoods. And it's clear that we really need to stick with those rules. And if for some reason those rules need to be modified with some type of conditional use, well then if a project is moved forward under conditional use, then there needs to be enforcement when someone is permitted to build a development under conditional use and those rules aren't followed. And that's also what I see as being a big problem. is that you have developments that are put together under conditional use, and then there's no enforcement over those particular guidelines when rules are broken.
Thank you. For the next question, there's 1 minute provided.
Okay.
This question is, many New Orleans East voters look forward to an increase in political buy-in from leadership and advocacy, as well as public and private investment. What will you do to ensure leveraging of equitable resources for governmental investment in New Orleans East?
Well, I think I've mentioned it throughout my presentation here that once again, you know, looking at the infrastructure bill that's moving through Congress, how can we move those dollars down into New Orleans? And if the infrastructure bill moving through Congress has a lot of money for tech, then how can we improve the tech industry and grow the tech industry in New Orleans? Well, the best opportunity to do so is in New Orleans East. I mean, you all are the ones that have the space, the right corridors. It's all the puzzle pieces fit. So that's the way that I would, you know, try to work through the dollars flowing in and invest them in New Orleans East, is through building industry and building tech. You know, also we need to talk about the regional business park. There's certainly opportunities there. They're always looking for additional tenants. And we've got 3 big tenants there already. So what can also be brought to the regional business park? And then once again, back to the utilization of already city-owned properties. What type of partnerships can we form with whether it's educational organizations like a SUNO or a UNO? Or
Time.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Were we able to get Mr. Kenneth Cutno? Well, thank you so much, Councilmember Helena Moreno. We appreciate you answering these questions and spending time with us this evening. That is the conclusion of all of our questions. Thank you again.
Okay, well, I just wanted to thank all of you all for having these forums. Very much appreciated.
Well, I want to thank everyone. Please don't do it.
Oh, Mr. Cutler. The technology, man.
I see Dawn having issues, so I'll let you go. I'm gonna close it out, Corinne. Thank you, Councilwoman Moreno. You good, Dawn?
I'm sorry, I'm also having some difficulties, but I do want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It's been a very informative forum. And I want to remind everybody that the election is being held on October 9th. So we're asking everyone to be sure to vote and encourage all of your family and friends to vote. Thank you so much for being a part of our forum tonight.
Okay, we're still live, okay? Let me see if I can pause no, I'm not gonna pause the live, but I called Cutno. I told him to try to get back in. He said he couldn't get back in. So I told him that after we wrap up with the other, I'll try to, you know, get him on and then let him answer the questions as well, just to be fair. Because he was, his computer was messing up. He was here on time. So I think I can pause. We have 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and pause.
We usually
Were we able to get Mr. Kenneth Cutno?
Yes, he's back here.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Helena Moreno. Able to get Mr. Kenneth Cutno?
Yes, he's back here. Thank you so much, Councilmember Helena Moreno. Able to give Mr. Kenneth Cudno? Yes, he's back here. Thank you so much, Councilmember Helena Moreno. Able to give Mr. Kenneth Cudno? Yes, he's back here. Thank you so much, Councilmember Helena Moreno. Able to give Mr. Kenneth Cudno?
Kimberly,
Yes.
this is Marcia,
Yes.
timekeeper. How many questions do we have for Mr. Cutno?
5.
Marcia, 5.
Yes, ma'am.
How many questions do we have? Corinne? Cutno.
5.
How much time?
Yes, ma'am.
How many questions do we have? Corinne? Cutno.
There seems to be an echo going on. Something
Yeah.
repeating. Hello? There seems to be an echo going on.
Go ahead.
Yeah.